Hi, this is an experiment in laziness because I am so far behind on my blogging. So I just don't have time to type anymore, so I'm going to talk it. I'm going to roar through this in 3 or 4 minutes if it kills me because I tend to talk too much. Um, Basically, this is a topic only geeks can love, but I wanted to bring up as a point of discussion the fact that Mark Johnson on the Mark Johnson Show on WDEV has been so heavily promoting the blog Vermont Tiger, vermonttiger.com, which, with apologies to Charity, she's right, has become really the leading conservative blog in the state. Mark Johnson is going to be at their Friday symposium, where in which that they've really put on a major event, and kudos to them for that, bringing in a lot of speakers from the conservative movement. He also interviewed one of those speakers on Wednesday, and has really pushed this event. And in doing so, has lent his platform to the Vermont Tiger in a way that no blog has ever been promoted by the traditional media in this state. This is, with apologies to the fine folks of public television, the Mark Johnson Show is simply a much bigger platform than even Philip Baruth has as a semi-regular on Vermont This Week. Now, I think in doing so, he's kicking us off to the next stage of the blog evolution. When I say that, and put that in a little bit of context, I used to be the IT guy for the Democratic Party for years, and I would work on their websites. And one of the things I found that just technologically, we were consistently, almost to the date, it seemed like, about 2 years behind the technological curve politically. And I think it's been true with the blogosphere, which is kind of ironic since we're in Vermont, and so much of the liberal blogosphere was generated by the Dean campaign right out of Burlington. But I think you see three steps of the evolution of the national blogosphere that we're mirroring. Initially, when it was considered and talked as though we were a fringe movement, it was really liberal dominated. The next stage, you really had an explosion of just numbers of blogs, more conservative blogs, which obviously, no surprise, got a lot more attention from the traditional media. And if you look at news reports from that era, really, you see that there's a lot of talk about how isn't it funny this is becoming conservative dominated when it started as a liberal thing. Phase three, is what we're in now, and I think it's fairly obvious that the medium is really nationally is left wing dominated, is liberal dominated, and it's really because of the incredible level of interactivity that sites, the community style sites like Daily Coast, MyDD, the kind of site the Green Mountain Daily is modeled after, have really provided, where people are talk to each other, community is built, activism is built, and it really has taken off. And I think in the final analysis, it's a much better medium for liberal activism for that very reason, that sort of netroots element. So Mark Johnson, in promoting Vermont Tiger, has bumped Vermont Tiger not simply to the top of the conservative blog heap, but arguably, I suspect, and we'll see, to the top of the Vermont political blog heap, period. And you're going to see that change happen now. The Vermont Tiger is going to become I suspect, if they play it well, a reputable go-to conservative source. Vermont This Week will very quickly need to counter Baruth's presence from bringing in somebody from Vermont Tiger, which will minimize or equalize that platform completely and minimize that advantage. As we get toward the election, when people start paying a lot more attention to blogs, they're going to be sought out. Their opinions are going to be looked at, and the blogs in general are going to have a much bigger effect this election than last year. Obviously, we all remember when Julie had the impact on the Rainville campaign. That was the tip of the iceberg. There's going to be a lot more going on this year, and the timing of this means that we're, I think, stepping into this phase two, going into an election year. It's a little bad timing for us, but it is what it is. What are you going to do? We're just going to have to work that much harder. But I think at the end of the day, in Vermont, as in the rest of the country, this is going to prove to be a much more conducive medium to liberal activism, if for no other reason than a lot of the conservative blogs like Vermont Tiger are somewhat self-limiting. I mean, we at Green Mountain Daily, we're not outsiders, but we are people who are not in the halls of power, and we want to get heard. We want to bang on the doors, crash the gates, say, hey, pay attention to us. We want to affect debate. We want to get our caucuses to listen at the State House. We want to get other activists to listen. We want to get the media to listen. Folks at a lot of these conservative sites like Vermont Tiger, they're really a lot more plugged into the power. Folks who blog up there, folks like Art Wolf, they're part of the mainstream conservative hierarchy in a way that we at Green Mountain Daily and other left-wing blogs simply aren't. But that, I think, in the long run gives them that big boost up, knocks them into phase two where they get that spotlight front and center. But at the end of the day, is going to be limiting to them, and they run the risk of becoming what a lot of the conservative blogs in the country have become, which are just basically echo chambers, and that's boring. How's that interesting? But anyway, we'll see how it goes, and there could be a lot more blog versus blog action this election year with this sea change in the dynamic. Have to wait and see. All right, see if I have nerve to post this.